Fawn tried to keep her mind on the concert, but she could already feel some worrisome thoughts about Bridget in the back of the brain the entire time. Thank you, Milowick. You're amazing, Dusk shouted as the concert ended. Thank you, Fawn called out. She felt bad. She wanted to enjoy the concert, but her mind wasn't fully in it. She had been busy trying to process what Bridget could have possibly been getting into their room this morning. She was for sure that she had done of a job as usual performing, but she was still wished that she could have fully enjoyed the concert, without Bridget stuff in the back of her head. Her new fury wasn't a pleasant one, but she felt there the only explanation. Bridget must somehow be sort of a crazy obsessed fan. Fawn had heard of horror stories of obsessive fans doing strange things before, but she certainly never thought that she would have to deal with one. Come to think of it, Bridget had really gone above and beyond crazy in introducing them to their father and getting them into a record deal, which led to pretty much all the events in the past several months. The music video, finishing the album, and touring all never would have happened if it not for Bridget introducing them to her father. That was a lot of a dedication to put into one band, not to mention the uprooting of her life for an entire month to go on a tour with them. Unfortunately, that probably meant Nia and Sam were unhealthy, obsessed fans too. Fawn tried not to be overly worried about it. She didn't really know how to process the situation. She never had to deal with obsessive fans before, but perhaps it would just involve talking to Bridget and setting some boundaries. It felt like a little weird having someone to love them so much that they were digging through their stuff. Perhaps even steal something as memento as usually uncomfortable situations with people came from negative feelings of hatred. Not admission that it would be as strong, but that was creepy. Fawn just supposed it was something she would have to learn to cope as a musician. She still trusted Bridget, Nia, and Sam to an extent. In the past month or so, the black-haired goth had just gotten used to the personalities and had forgotten about how over the top the administration could have been at times. Still, though, the admiration could have been going on. As the idea still unsettled Fawn a bit, she still wasn't really sure how to have the conversation with Bridget, Nia, and Sam. She didn't want to tell Luna and Dusk, as to not necessarily worry them if they end up being nothing. She supposed that she would have to wait until the conversation with them tomorrow, when she had a little more time to process everything. Is still worried about to be end up with nothing. Earth to Fawn, the familiar voice of the blonde-haired bandmate said. Oh yes? Fawn realized. She completely spaced out as the curtain closed. We're ready to leave when you are, Dusk responded. Sorry, there was just a lot of stimulation, Fawn responded, as she quickly put her guitar in its case and scurried over to the backstage exit, where the others were waiting. Though Fawn was more distracted by thinking about the Bridget thing more than the concert herself, the overstimulation continued, with a group of 5 fans run up to them. They all looked to be about girls their age. Can we get your autograph? A punky-looking guy in a Slipknot t-shirt, ripped jeans, and black combat boots said. Yeah, you're one of my favorite new bands, a girl said with the hair dyed bright purple added. Sure, we could sign the autographs, Fawn smiled, as she took pieces of paper from the pen from the punky guy. It's great meeting you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking to Sally or Fawn McKnight, the purple-haired fan gasped. What are all your names? Fawn asked. John, the Slipknot t-shirt guy said. Miranda, the purple-haired fan replied. Jessie, another fan who was wearing all black responded. Zoe, a blonde girl said, who wore a Backstreet Boys t-shirt and jeans said. Eden, a brunette fan, wearing a purple t-shirt and black leggings added. Fawn started writing out the autographs for them, beginning with John. So, who do you like better, us or the Backstreet Boys? Dusk teased in a playful way. Oh, you guys, definitely, Zoe said. I would have worn one of your t-shirts if you had any out. You could really release some merch at some point. I bet hundreds of people would buy it. Funny you say that. We're actually just thinking about doing that, Dusk smiled, as Foreign handed each their autographs over to Luna, once she finished. That would be so cool. I'd absolutely buy your t-shirts, Zoe exclaimed. Hell, Matt, yeah, man. You guys are the bomb. I'd buy anything you put out, John responded. Aw, thanks, Foreign smiled. Here you go, guys. Dusk handed out all the autographs. Thanks, you guys are the best, John exclaimed, as he and the other 4 girls headed back to the other direction. Signing more autographs, I see? It always seems that new fans who are always determined to get an autograph that they manage to find the artist one way or another, Gus chuckled. Before the girls had a chance to respond, another woman's voice called out to the hallway near the backstage area. Girls, may I talk to you for a moment? Sure, do you want us to sign an autograph? Foreign politely guessed. Actually, no. My name is Chelsea Johnson, and I'm an anchor for the ABC 12 Morning News. While you girls are still in town, would you be able to do a short interview on air during tomorrow's news at 9? The news anchor asked. That admittedly wasn't what Foreign was expecting at all, but she thought that it sounded like a really cool idea, and a great way to promote their album. Sure, I think we'll have time, right, Gus? Foreign inquired. It might be a bit tight, since it takes 6 hours to get to our next stop in Detroit, Michigan, Gus said, but I think we can make it work. If we're up early enough and check out the hotel before the interview. The news station is just about 6 minutes from Pister Hotel, right? Chelsea nodded her head. Yep, if you take the Wisconsin Avenue. I think that'd be a wicked opportunity, Dusk exclaimed. Yeah, that'll be fun, Luna smiled. She seemed a little nervous, but Foreign imagined it because it was for a similar reason to stage her fears, being in front of a huge number of people. Great, it's not like we're going to be anything scary, just a few questions about your new album and on how the tour is going and such, Chelsea assured. She brushed her blonde hair out of her face. That sounds great. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, Foreign replied. Thanks for inviting us, Luna added. I look forward to seeing you girls on the news. Have a great night, Chelsea said, as she smiled and headed back towards the main entrance. Whoa, Bridget exclaimed in a very bombastic way, as if the girls just won a Nobel Peace Prize. Did I just hear that you guys just got an interview on the news? You did, but that's not that big of a deal. It's just a local news station. We're not on CNN or anything, Foreign laughed. Excuse me, but that's a huge deal, Nia said. Not many people can say that they were on the news. I think they were right, Dusk responded. It's freaking amazing to be asked on some news in some random city we don't even live in. Yeah, I guess you're right, Foreign acknowledged. She still didn't feel that it was a big of a deal as they were making it, but it was pretty cool. You know what could be really freaking amazing? Bed, I'm white. It's been such a long day, and tomorrow's gonna be even longer. At least we'll have a break the next day, Luna said. But yeah, going to bed would be nice. How far away is the hotel? Only 6 minutes, Gus informed. Oh, that's not bad at all, Luna exclaimed. Foreign just hoped that she'll be able to sleep well tonight without her mind worrying about having to talk with Bridget tomorrow. Although Foreign's worries kept her from falling asleep right away, she thankfully was able to drift off in a matter of a half an hour. She still felt wonderful that she woke up the next morning. Traveling 5 hours and putting on a performance yesterday had taken a lot out of her. After getting ready for the morning, Foreign hurried downstairs to get some breakfast. It was already a few minutes past to 8 o'clock, meaning that she only had about an hour to eat, and it didn't even include the 15 minutes it would take to drive to the news station. Foreign made sure that she took her suitcase this time, so they quickly checked out. As Foreign left her room and got into the elevator, she wondered if Bridget was going to sneak in again to rummage through their stuff. She didn't even want to think about those weird thoughts, so she tried to push it out of her mind. The elevator brought her down to the first floor, dinging as the doors opened. The black-haired goth turned around the corner to see the others all down eating breakfast. Thankfully, Bridget was with them, so Foreign didn't have to worry about doing anything strange upstairs. Good morning, Foreign, Gus greeted her. We probably only have 15 minutes left. if we want to get to the TV station a little early and have time to check out. That's okay, I can eat breakfast quickly, Thorne said as she picked out a bowl of Fruit Loops. Do they have milk here? Well, they did, Sam said sheepishly, as she pointed to her cereal bowl, which was overflowing with milk, as well as an empty bottle on the breakfast counter. Well, I'll just have it to eat it dry, Thorne sighed. Girls, do you want to come with us when we go to the TV station? Gus inquired, in between bites of his blueberry-filled Danish. Thorne got worried for a moment. If all four of them were gone, perhaps Bridget would use the time to rummage through their seats. Of course we'll come with you, Nia exclaimed. Phew. Thorne hated being suspicious of Bridget, so she couldn't wait till the opportunity arose to talk to her tonight. Thorne had never been to the news station before. It almost seemed overwhelming when she first saw it as she got out of the van. It was a large brown building with hundreds of windows, or at least 5 different stories, and a large antenna perched at the top of the building. There weren't many news stations in Oak Haven. Most of the news stations they got were from Salem. What floor we're supposed to go to again? Dusk inquired. Thorne hadn't noticed it quickly. Previously, she just saw now Dusk was wearing the necklace that she had found at the Autumn Fest. I don't think she said, come to think of it. Gus looked a bit concerned. His concern was quickly ablated with the voice from nearby. Excuse me, are you the Hex girls? A male voice inquired. Yes, we are, Thorne chirped. Great, follow me, the man instructed. He was wearing a blue-colored shirt and techies. Chelsea sent me down here to find you and bring you up to the right place for your interview. Okay, thank you, Dusk replied, as she and the others began following the man. I'm Jake, by the way, the man introduced. Nice to meet you, Gus responded. Likewise. I know you girls have a tight schedule today with another concert tonight, so I want to assure you that the interview won't take more than a half an hour, Jake stated. Anyway, the interview will begin right here. Thorne looked around in awe of her surroundings in the room. Instead of the room being the hugest green screen Thorne had ever seen. The green screen currently had a picture of a beautiful sunrise overlooking a city, to which the black-haired Hex girl presumed to be Milky. There was also a large anchorman's chair in front of the green screen with additional seats, pulled up to against the anchorman chair. The large camera was pointed directly at the chairs. Hello, girls, you're right on time, Chelsea said. Now, your manager and roadies can stand right here if they like, if you want to watch the interview. Of course we do, Bridget exclaimed. Thorne never had thought of calling Bridget, Nia, and Sam roadies before, but she supposed that was technically their main role of the trip. She had always thought of them as more than friends, that they were ever to go for the ride with them. Now we are here where the questions I have for you. Chelsea handed the girls a sheet of different questions. None of them looked particularly difficult to answer. They all just asked about their processing creating an album, the reception of the album, and what their future is looking like. Nothing scary. These all look great, Luna smiled. This should be a breeze, Dusk exclaimed. I know you guys are in a bit of a rush to get to Detroit this morning, so the interview won't last any longer than 15 minutes or so, Chelsea assured. That's great. We should be able to make it to Detroit by 4 then, Gus chimed. How are you girls enjoying your stay in Milkway so far? Chelsea inquired. We're really liking it, Thorne smiled. She admittedly not really possessed the last night's show as deeply as the Minneapolis one. Once she had the otherwise preoccupied with the worrying of Bridget. Good, Chelsea smiled. That's a great city, and I'm so glad I moved here from New York. It is still a big city, with the feeling without being overwhelmed, like being in New York City. How did you end up here from New York? Luna asked. Thorne was admittedly surprised at how talkative the redhead was. Typically, Luna was always very shy around people that she didn't know, especially lately with the high amount of mental stimulation involved in the concerts. She seemed to be enjoying this, though. Well, I was working as an intern for a news station in New York. I hated it, to be honest. All the journalists had me to do is get their coffee, do mental office tasks, and I knew I wasn't going to be happy there. So I started looking for jobs, and this one popped up. and I knew it would be a bit of a move, but I'm just so glad I did. It was the best decision of my life, and I'm glad that I got to write my own stories now, Chelsea informed. That's so cool, Luna smiled. All right, folks, we are on in a minute, Jack interjected. Apparently the cameraman thought Thorn hadn't realized just now. We're on in 10, 9, 8, Jack counted down. Okay, are you girls ready? Chelsea inquired. 7, 6, 5. All three of the girls nodded their heads. 4, 3, 2, Jack finished counting. Good morning, Mill Lake. I am Chelsea Johnson reporting for ABC 12 News. This morning we got a local band from Oak Haven, Massachusetts with us, or at least they were a few weeks ago. Now, with this local band has become singing sensations across the country after the release of their single Hexed, which is currently at number 3 on the pop radio chart. Thorn hadn't realized their song had climbed up to number 3, but she figured that it must have happened just this morning. Gus had so much going on taking care of their needs on the tour and doing his job remotely, so he probably had forgotten to inform them. That new single was quickly followed by a surprise debut album, also titled Hexed, which is currently at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Hexed Girls are Sally McKnight, Jane Bellevue, and Kimberly Jameson, better known as Thorn, Luna, and Dusk. So tell me, girls, what has been your reaction for the album's chart performance? Chelsea asked. Well, to be honest, we were shocked. Luna was the first to speak, much to Thorn's surprise. We thought Hexed was just a fluke, but since we were honored to have people love our music so much, we didn't even think Hexed would just do what it did. Just a few months ago, we were an unknown band that no one outside of our town knew about. And now we're traveling the country, Thorn added. And now it has feel to leave your homes and the tour of the U.S., Chelsea added. Freaking amazing, Dusk exclaimed. I couldn't be more happier than the people around the country want to hear our music. It actually feels really good, Thorn added. Personally, I was a little worried about being away from home for so long, but it's pretty cool visiting a new city every night. That's so great, girls. It must have been a great opportunity to meet your new fans from all these different places around. Chelsea smiled. So clearly your music resonates with your fans. What's the creative process for creating songs? All of us sat down together and shared our ideas, then figured out how we can make it into a song. All three of us had an input on every song, and there wasn't even a single song on the album written by anyone else. Well, except for the covers, I guess. Dusk looked a bit sheepish when she realized the mistake behind her assertion. We can make inspiration from daily life, and our brainstorming sessions helps us develop those ideas into songs that will be relatable to everyone, Luna added. Some of these songs were written when we were younger, so it feels really cool to give them out for the world to hear. In fact, Hexed was written for our high school music class, Thorn added. She was a bit cautious about sharing anything too personal, since the entire city would be watching, but she figured it was no harm in sharing a bit of that. Wow, that's incredible. That song you wrote for your assignment has become such a huge hit. Chelsea looked amazed. Do any of you guys have a favorite song on your album? My personal favorite's Hexed, because it's what started our whole career for us, Dusk answered. I've always enjoyed Earth, Wind, Fire, and Air the most. We're all super passionate about the environment, besides the cover of A Forest, which is the song we express for the most, Thorn added. I've got to go with Thorn on this one, Luna said. We also wrote that song especially for the Autumn Fest, which is a little festival in our town that we played for most of the time last year. So there's a lot of great memories associated with that song. I imagine so, Chelsea smiled, before transitioning to the next question. Now my final question for you girls is looking at ahead at your career. What do you see for yourselves after this tour? All the three girls paused for a moment. This tour had been felt so big that none of them actually really thought much of their lives of what it would look like when they returned. Well, we'll be definitely going to start on our second album, but we want to let this one sit for a little while and promote it. Maybe some more TV appearances, more singles, and maybe even another music video, Thorn informed. We've also got some merch on the way soon, so keep your eyes out for that, Dusk added. Thorn didn't necessarily like that Dusk had informed their fans about the merch before, though they haven't really had a chance to talk about when they were going to be making it in any depth. But that wasn't going to get bent out of shape for that. That's wonderful, girls. Well, there you have it, folks. Foreign Dusk and Luna, otherwise known as the Hex Girls, thank you for coming on ABC 12 News this morning, and we'll be back right after these messages, Chelsea has said. And we're clear, Jake notified. It's a bummer that you should have stayed longer and performed, but it's great having you here, Chelsea has smiled. We've got our instruments in our tour van. Actually, if there is time with the commercial, we could quickly run and get them out, and maybe play a song, Dusk suggested. That would be amazing, Chelsea exclaimed. And you got 3 minutes left. Is that enough time to get your instruments? We can grab them for you, Bridget said, as she, Sam, and Nia quickly scurried down the tour van to get the keys from Gus. Great, Thorne exclaimed. Then we could set up a few mics there. There were a few extra studio mics in the back, Chelsea informed Jake, who ran to grab them. She was excited to be performing in such a larger audience without having to be right in front of her. The screaming of cheering crowds was a bit overwhelming to Thorne, so it was nice to have her music still able to reach the big audience without the instability of having thousands of people right in front of you.